been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
Welcome back to the Everything Goes podcast. We're your hosts, Chris, Tyler, Ace. Guardians take the first wild card openers. Ramirez homers and Bieber dominates. The Phillies 6-run comeback in the ninth. I'm pretty sure everyone's parlays were screwed until that ninth inning. Padres dominate the Mets 7-1. Are the Mets choking already? Let's ride. 4th and 1 miss. Russell Wilson getting booed at home. Vikings hang on, Ace, with a double doink that could have took the game to overtime. Guys, welcome back. I know we didn't record on Thursday, but it is a beautiful Saturday morning down here in Boca Raton, Florida. I don't know about you guys up there.
Yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in your intro. You didn't message Cooper Rush, the first quarterback to go 4-0 for Dallas Cowboys history.
You mean the quarterback that you don't like? The quarterback you don't like?
I didn't say I didn't like him. You didn't even mention the Cowboys.
Hey, the intros come to me. It's not like I picked them. You know, I just kind of whatever can roll off the tongue a little bit. But hey, I stuck up for Cooper Rush on this podcast. I got loud. I was like, here we go. You wanted this ship to sink. Cooper Rush is going to go 4-0. No more Dak Prescott. And you said, no, let's continue to ride out. I want that first draft pick. Let's go.
Absolutely. I do. I still do.
Even though they're like, what, 3-1?
Look, I honestly think Cooper Rush is a good quarterback, but the thing I don't like is I don't like the fact that they don't open the playbook for them. You know, the thing that drives me nuts when I yell at my TV, but the thing is when you run on first down and you run on second down and you're forced into a 3rd or 7 or 3rd and 8, guess what? Every defense in the freaking National Football League knows you have to pass the ball here. I mean, it's simple to read. They need to mix it up. I mean, actually, I was tweeting this. I wish you'd mix it up and throw in first down. And boop, oh my God, they threw in first down. You know,
I saw your tweets.
You got to mix it up because if you don't mix it up, you become easy to read, and defensive coordinators are going to load the box on you.
That was the Vikings under Zimmer a lot of the time too, especially when you get the guy under the center. You almost hands out of 9 times out of 10 is running it.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen, right? You're going to be conservative. Cooper Rush is going to look like a stud, even though his numbers aren't really good. The Cowboys. Let me tell you something about the Cowboys real quick, since we're just talking football real quick, okay?
Let me show you. We could dive into the Cowboys.
Let me show you a comparison, okay? Total TDs for the season. The Detroit Lions have 18 TDs. The Bears, the Broncos, and the Cowboys combined have 18.
Oh my God!
The Lions are on a whole new level.
Throw the 49ers in there too. How many? They don't have that many.
Hey, Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. Sorry, Ty.
Jimmy G. He got the W. And you sat on this podcast and said Jimmy G ain't getting that W.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Okay, you also said the Saints were going to win, but anyway, let me tell you something about the Lions.
That would hurt.
The Lions have scored. The Lions have scored 140 points. That's almost 20 points higher than Kansas City, almost 30 points higher than the Buffalo Bills. They average 35 points a game. The problem is they're giving up 141 points, so they're averaging 35 points against them. If they get a defense, I'm telling you right now, that's a 30-burger, man. If the Lions get a defense, they're gonna dominate that fucking division.
Do you know who the Lions look like?
Is amazing.
The Lions remind me of when I became a Saints fan. Just think about little Ty and Drew Brees would have to put up 30 points just to win a game because we had the worst ranked defense for like 5 years straight. That's literally what it looked like. I think they broke history last week, didn't they, with like the most high-scoring game or something?
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. We'll have to stat that.
Close.
We'll have to stat that.
At least on the season. We'll say this season.
But real quick, let me jump back to Cooper Rush. My whole point about this is Cooper Rush is a great quarterback. He's really good. I don't want to say great. He's a good quarterback. He's getting us the dubs.
Yeah, it's okay.
But it's not his stats.
It's good backup. Good backup.
He you know what's going to happen is they're going to praise this guy. He's going to become a free agent. Someone's going to pay him $20 million a year to be a starter. He's not going to do anything. But I'm just saying, Dallas's defense is what's carrying us.
Yeah.
We've only allowed 4 touchdowns all season. It's the first time I think since 1972 that we've done that. You know, we haven't allowed 20 points or more in a game yet this year. Our defense, we have 65 pressures, which is the second or third most, and 15 sacks, which is only 1 sack behind the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's our defense that's making us shine. We've only allowed 4 touchdowns, like I said. So that's a big difference. If they open up the offense more, I mean, this team can really be good.
You might get the Matt Flynn payday to the Seattle Seahawks back in the day. Where it's like,
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
We'll dive into more football because obviously there's a lot to dive into in your division with the Giants 3-1, Dallas 3-1, Eagles 4-0.
Best division in football right now, as far as wins
We'll
go.
see, because as far as most reporters are saying, the Giants aren't even a good 3-1 team. But we'll continue that talk a little later here. We'll start off with some wild card baseball because it's fresh in our minds. I didn't get to watch most of it. What I was a little frustrated about is like half these games started around 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock on a Friday. How much sense does that make?
Yeah.
It's a rush. It's a rush to get it done. I mean, today's elimination day.
Do you know not a lot of people even knew that the wild card games got changed to best out of 3? I heard a lot of like podcasters, they were like, wait, it's not a one game elimination. And I'm like, where have you been? Where have you been? Like, I get it. Like, there's a lot of people that are upset with that, but I low key, I have just been a Yankees fan to the point where like most years are wild cards and most years we do not win those games, where I'm like, I'm kind of happy it's best 2 out of 3. But the Rays took on the Guardians. First game, they lose 2-1. The Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays not representing our division that well. They both got beat. I mean, the Blue Jays didn't even put up a run. I think they lost 4-0 to Seattle. Dad, like you said, Seattle looks hot. And I remember when we were talking on this podcast, and I told you I don't even know if I want to face Seattle right now. I think I'd rather face Tampa Bay, and that's showing right now.
You know what's funny? One of the most impressive players in baseball that never gets talked about is Jose Ramirez from the Guardians. That guy is an amazing player. He's under the radar. No one ever talks about him. He hits a 2-run home run to win the game for them. That guy, if he ever became a free agent, man, and he came to the Yankees, I'd love it. Put him at third base there.
He was supposed to get traded, wasn't he? Not, correct me if I'm wrong.
Rumored, yeah.
Did they give him an extension mid-season this year?
I think he did.
I thought they did. I thought they did because they were really hardcore on possibly trading. There were a lot of teams interested. I think the Yankees were even one of those teams. But hey, the Guardians, not the Indians.
They put the ball in play.
Yeah,
they put the ball in play too. They're a fun team to watch. I had a feeling they'd win game 1. I thought the Blue Jays would come out strong also, but Seattle kind of surprise teams. I don't know, outside of that Rodriguez guy and a couple other players, I don't know who Seattle has offensively. I just expected their pitching would probably carry them, which
the Rays only had 3 hits. Rays only had 3 hits, so they didn't really do much in that game.
Let me ask you.
Well, real quick, outside of Scherzer kind of getting banged up, he still pitched 5-6 innings though, but like all the starters went deep in these games, and that's what I like to see.
7 2/3 for Bieber.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like to see out of all these guys. It's
only one walk. Like, that guy dominated. And I remember he was possibly on the trade target too this year. And I remember I pushed really hard in this podcast. I said I would have loved the Yankees to go out and get somebody like that.
The games tell you something faster, all of it.
Yeah.
The worst place to lay an egg is New York. And Scherzer giving up 4 home runs last night, getting booed at home. But let me ask you guys, of the Rays, the Jays, the Mets, and the Cards, who goes home today?
You know what's funny?
DeGrom's pitching for the Mets.
How sad would it be to see?
I think it's the Rays.
How sad would it? I would agree. I would totally agree. How sad would it be to see Pujols and Molina and what the heck's the other guy's name? A pitcher.
Oh,
Wainwright. Like, to just go home like this. I mean, you were winning 3-0. I didn't. Whatever the score was, I think it was.
Yeah, you were right.
And
you know what's
9 runs in the last inning. Like, you could possibly go home now.
Of those teams that you mentioned earlier, Ty, the Guardians and the Mariners. The Mariners, no one even talks about their pitching staff. They got the second best pitching staff in baseball for the playoffs.
Man, I know. Like I told you,
Houston has the best, and I've been saying that all season. I don't like playing Houston. Houston has a solid team. The Yankees are 5th on that list. The Guardians, if their pitching carries them, just like what I said back a couple years ago with the Washington Nationals, they have the best pitching staff. They get hot offensively a little bit. They could be a team to reckon with.
Yeah. And I know the Yankees have beaten Seattle in the past couple of series that we played. But, man, like, that's a team you have to watch for, like the Giants in the past history, man. Like, when you get a team in the wild card that can get hot, they ride that thing, man, and they could be dangerous. Like you said, the pitching staff's hot right now. The bats are looking great, too. So that's a team to keep your eye out.
You know what Toronto reminds me of? Toronto reminds me of the New York Yankees. A lot of big names get to the playoffs, just don't have enough to get over that hump.
Yep.
They lost. So their stud Manoah lost to Luis Castillo, who I think was pitching for the Reds. Wasn't that like a trade deadline move by the Mariners? Too?
Yeah, they extended him too.
Oh yeah, wow. They locked him in. They locked him in
for a big contract. It was a big contract. Yeah. Seattle got good moves this offseason, and then they
I wanted Rodriguez. The Twins to freaking get that guy too. Like
a lot of teams wanted that guy. Yankees being one.
Now Aaron Boone was asked the other day about who's starting, and now as soon as they finished the season, he almost immediately said it was going to be Cole. But then he kind of backed off of that. He's kind of mulling over the games one starter for the Guardians or the Rays. Garrett Cole was 13-8 this year with a ERA of 3.50.
Strikeout's amazing.
Pacing the majors with 33 starts and 257 strikeouts, which is a new franchise mark, eclipsing Ron Guidry's 1978 total of 248. But he also led the American League with 33 home runs, which I've elaborated and talked about on this podcast several times. Garrett Cole is known to give up the home run.
Mm-hmm.
Nasty Nestor
That's who I said.
Was 12-4 with a 2.44 ERA in 28 starts, 163 Ks and 158 in a third innings. Severino, who also dominated the last game of the season, no hits through 7, was 7-3 and a 3.18 ERA in 19 starts. Now, this is the records that these guys have this season against each of those teams that
in the Rays.
And I only have them for Cortez and Cole because I don't even know if Sevy played it.
I don't know.
Cole was 2-0 with a 1.42 ERA in 2 starts versus Cleveland.
Oh, there you go.
He was 1-1 with a 1.07 ERA in 4 starts versus Tampa Bay. Cortez is 1-0 with a 2.19 ERA versus Cleveland, 2-2 with a 3.28 ERA in 4 starts against Tampa Bay.
There you
go.
So
I think it depends who wins. Like if the Guardians win, it almost seems like you start Cole. Or I think it sounds like you start Cole no matter what based off those stats.
Yeah, I think you have to start Cole. I think playoffs, we've seen guys that are hot during the season, like Severino and Cole, and then they get to the playoffs and they give up home run after home run. Nestor Cortez, though, I don't know if you watched that last home game he got to pitch. He did this absolute long, funky motion and struck out this Orioles batter. Crowd went crazy as soon as they saw him. when he went to deliver and then he came back up and started moving the crowd went crazy. And then he strikes the guy out on top of that. That's kind of like I'm going to skip because I can't remember the name, but that was amazing.
The most important thing, though, is whoever you start in game 1, most likely is going to pitch another game.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Garrett Cole has that history of the home run. It killed us against Houston last year.
I just think you're right. You're right. I think you're right with Cole at this point. I love Nestor, but hey, if Cole doesn't get the win game 1, you can rely on Nestor to get the win game 2. I would hate to put out Nestor on game 1. He gets dominated, and then you put Cole in for game 2, and then it's like, all right, is Cole going to give the long ball? I'd rather get Cole over with and see like, all right, Severino, Nestor, let's see if they could do this.
But some of the other thing, go ahead.
I was going to ask about the lineup. Do you want Judge leading off, or would you rather have him?
I don't mind
it because then they got to pitch to him.
I don't mind.
Then they got to pitch to him.
And then that gives him more at bats.
Are you going to come out?
Would you rather have him kind of sandwiched between like a 2 and a 4 hitter, or a 1 and a 2? Like he's either the 2 or the 3 spot versus having the 9 behind him.
The thing with him being leadoff though is he'll get more at bats. Possibly, the bottom of the order isn't necessarily bad first, but if you can get Judge up in the position where like the bottom of the order they're kind of not pitching as hard to, and they get some guys on and Judge is up. All right, here we go, another home run possibly.
And the thing that concerns me about Aaron Boone is I hope he doesn't start playing names. You know what I mean? I hope he plays these young kids who are freaking hot.
Like Cabrera.
The thing is like Giancarlo Stanton, he's homered in his final 3 games of the regular season, but since he's been back from injury, he's just 14 of 100 with a 140 batting average, 4 home runs and 14 RBIs. DJ LeMay, who is another one, he was visibly limping after the game. He's got a toe injury. Toe injuries are nothing to mess around with. He's 4 of 16 since returning September 30th. Don't play these guys just because of their name. Play these guys because you have these young kids who are amazing talent. Like Aaron Hicks, I'm sorry, buddy, you're gone. You're done.
Oh, yeah,
your job is gone.
Yeah, you got Bader out there, you got Judge out there, and you got Cabrera. That's the best outfield we could put out there right now.
You also have Matt Carpenter coming back, who hasn't played baseball since August 8th. Just because you bring him back doesn't mean you put him in. Yeah, and Andrew Benintendi's another one. He's working out, but he might not be back to the American League Championship Series. Don't throw these guys in here because of a name. Don't forget these young kids that are getting you these wins. The chemistry right now is solid. Stick with it. If I was a coach right now, since we're not playing, I'd be having scrimmages.
Yeah,
I'd be scrimmaging.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah,
just to see who's health. Well, honestly, at this point, it comes down to health too. So
yeah, I'm excited to see exactly who the Yankees do play. How shocked were you guys with how quick the Padres struck early in that game against the Mets? Manny Machado, who has led that team as a captain this year, led that team as a leader right off the bat.
I think 3 out of their 4 home runs were on first pitch balls.
That's gotta suck as a pitcher. You know what I mean?
Well, Scherzer said his fastball wasn't traveling like it usually does. It was basically like batting practice, really. If you look at his fastball, it had no movement to it.
And Hugh Darvish was on, man. Like, and they say once you get Darvish past the first 2 innings, he starts to dial in, and he did. He did, man. His motion. We were talking about funky motions. He's got a funky motion, and I watched him throw a 96-mile-an-hour fastball high and in, and then he threw an 82-mile-an-hour curveball that had the most sick movement. And that's where I want. That is like a perfect video for you to show people who say baseball isn't a hard sport. All right, go ahead and you try a 96-mile-an-hour fastball and then an 80-mile-an-hour curveball. It looks exactly the same at first.
Pitching. This is honestly why I love the postseason. You are getting some of the not some of the best pitchers in the league that are starting, relief, whatever. I knew Yu Darvish was on their team. I did not expect he would be their number one starter. So to see him facing Scherzer was sort of odd.
I didn't either. Yeah.
They go up early. The way Darvish was pitching, you get 2 runs on that team and they were almost done.
They were, yeah.
Like
that momentum was gone.
Let me ask you something. Do you think the MLB played with the baseballs again? Scherzer had problems with his command yesterday with his fastball.
No.
Ryan Hensley was another one that came out and had problems with command.
You think it's getting cold though? It's getting cold.
I know, but a couple years they went to that ball in the playoffs during the season they hit the record-breaking home runs, and then when they went to the playoffs, they lost all the home runs. Home runs are down a little bit this year. Maybe they went back to the ball with the lower laces, so these guys can't get a good grip.
They are doing that. That should
be baseball.
That should be like an illegal thing to do. Like if you're gonna change something, you do that at the beginning or the end. And if you're gonna do that, number one, you need to inform, I think, the players committee and be like, hey, we're gonna change the balls to the playoffs. No, you are not. Why would you do that? Hey,
well, and now when I see pitchers grab a ball and just throw it away automatically, I assume it's because they don't like there's something about it they don't like. It
totally
doesn't
agree
happen
with
a
that.
lot, but
yeah, when I was a pitcher, man, when in certain leagues you run out of foul balls. Ball with high laces, I want my fingers to like hurt after a game. Like I want to be able to feel the ball. I don't like when they were low and I couldn't feel that grip. I felt like I would just slide off. But I want to give
those a lot of home runs yesterday, man.
That is sketchy. The fact, because I was listening to an interview. David Cohen actually did an interview with Dan Patrick's show, like, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. And he brought up the point that they were using 2 different sets of baseballs this year.
Yeah.
But to your point, Ty, 1,000% do not do this during that's terrible. Things up. Yeah. Coming into a postseason where it's just a terrible look.
Yeah. Hey, big congrats to the Phillies, number one. I know that's from our hometown, not necessarily Phillies fans, but that's a great comeback. And I know my brother's parlay hit because of that. And then he picked the Padres. He did like a $10 bet for like $83 payout. Congrats to him. The game schedule for today is the Rays and Guardians play at 12:07 p.m. random time. They're all at 7 p.m. Mariners and Blue Jays playing at 4:07. Padres and Mets are 7:37. Phillies and Cardinals are 8:37. I don't know what's up with the times. It's a little strange, but Aaron Nola getting to start against the Cardinals, man. With the Cardinals going home and Albert Pujols is right into the sunset.
One last thing before you guys go into football, I just want to talk about Aaron Judge real quick. Aaron Judge, who just came up a historic campaign for the Yankees. He's going to be a free agent. He's going to have a lot of people looking at him. The question is, do you give him a 10-year deal or do you give him a 7-year deal? But anyway, he led the major leagues this year with a 10.9 wins above replacement rating, which wins above replacement, which is the award measures a player's value in a facet of the game, deciphering on how many more wins he's worth than a replacement player in that same position. He had a 10.9 wins above replacement. That puts him in an elite group for the Yankees. Babe Ruth, names like Lou Gehrig, names like Mickey Mantle. Judge, he led almost every category except for the batting average, which I hate the Twins because they made a little joke about him, all arise, instead of all rise.
Even though they're going to be at home for the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Some interesting stats for Judge. I mean, he had the most no-doubter home runs this year and no-doubter home runs in all 30 MLB ballparks. Judge had 36. Austin Riley had 21. Christian Walker had 20. Kyle Schwarber had 19. Pete Alonso had 18. And another interesting thing, Judge, and I didn't know this, Judge had, the fewest pop-outs this season within 2,000 pitches. Judge only had 9 pop-outs. I didn't realize in like flyouts, he only had 2 pop-outs in the infield since 2019. It shows you how hard this guy's hitting the ball. And it's an amazing stat that I didn't know about. The other day, I think he was playing the Rangers. He popped up to the infield, or it was either that or the game in Toronto, and he was so mad. Only the second time he's done that since 2019, which is amazing.
Did you see who caught his ball?
Yeah, I got those notes too. Judge's career stats versus the fastball has dramatically improved. Since 2017, he had a slug percentage of .764 against the inside fastball. This year, he had a 1.057 slug percentage and a 500 batting average against the inside fastball. This guy is going to be, he's going to get paid. He really is. Corey Yeoman's Ty is the guy who caught that ball. He works out of a financial company,
billionaire,
and they've already offered him $2 million for that ball. And Aaron Judge, who got the number 61 back in Toronto, thank God it went into the bullpen. He gave that ball to his mom. He said, "I don't know where it is. We'll see what happens with that. It would be great to get it back, but that's a souvenir for a fan. He made a great catch out there, and they've got every right to it." The first thing I heard after that game was his bat, his cleats, his uniform, and that ball all are worth a lot of money. Amazing.
That guy's a billionaire with that ball. He's like, I don't need $2 million. That ball's going to sit on my desk and everyone's going to know exactly who caught that ball.
Yeah. It's funny because there's a video out there. They show, he caught that ball. He's high-fiving everybody. Mom and I were talking before, like, what we would do. I said, the first thing, babe, is you're pulling your shirt up, showing your tits, so it distracts me to get the hell out of there. And she started laughing. You know what? I would get that ball and I would be gone. That is a lottery ticket, and everybody and their mother in that stadium knows how much the value of that ball is going to be.
Like you said, I'd be getting security, be like, hey, like, any way you could talk to your manager and just walk me out to my car.
Yeah, and Sports Illustrated they were all asking him questions as he's being like rushed out. And Sports Illustrated asked him, "What are you going to do with the ball?" And he's like, "I haven't even thought about that yet." As he's drinking a beer, and then you hear people in the background, "Get his phone number, get his information," because you know what? This guy's name is going to be in the news everywhere until that ball is released.
Yeah,
almost. Right, one more quick thing. Oh yeah, one more quick thing. Ace, we were talking about this before we came on. Notable potential shortstop free agents for next year: Bogarts, Correa, Swanson, and Turner. Bogarts' average was .309 with 14 home runs, and Correa's was only .286. Turner is actually the best shortstop as far as average goes, with a 300 batting average, 20 home runs, 8.6 OPS. So it's gonna be interesting. Another great year of potential shortstop free agents. And last year we thought that was a big year. This is gonna be another one.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
All right, this could snowball. So just quick answers. Does Judge stay with the Yankees? Yes or no?
Yes. In my opinion, yes. I think they pull the trigger and make the deal.
Okay. But honestly, what I would do, and I'm not saying this, I wouldn't, because he's 3 years old. I'd honestly give him a 2-year deal. I'll give him a 2-year deal, but I would make it like for 40 plus million a year. Just keep dialing. Don't lock yourself into a 7-year contract, because at the end of that contract, you're going to be screwed. Like John Carlos Stanton's contract, we're screwed. Nobody's going to want to pick that up. So go 2 years. If he's still producing, pay him $50 million a year. It really doesn't affect the salary cap. There is no salary cap. But I would offer him an amazing amount of money for a 2-year deal and see what he does.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize Correa and him, they're similar ages. I think Correa's 28, but they're probably looking at around the same. I think they want the same long-term deal. I don't know. The money is going to be close now, especially with Judge's season. So,
but everyone's saying 10 years. Would you want to give him a 10-year deal? He'd be 41 at the end of that deal.
No,
I
get that. Maybe you stretch out some of the money, but it's all guaranteed anyway. So why not give them a loaded, like a 3-year deal and load it up? Who cares?
Make it all guaranteed. Make it all guaranteed.
Yeah,
I would. I seriously would.
It's going to be interesting to see where Judge goes, but we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the NFL Week 4 recap as the Giants hang on and they stay at 3-1. The Bills had a very good comeback game against the Ravens. Cooper Rush, like we talked about, 3-0 with the Cowboys. Jets have a very good comeback as Kenny Pickett makes his appearance for the Steelers, throws 3 picks, but still some Steelers fans are like, well, he was 10 for 10 in my books. That 3 picks, take that away. Lions still have one of the best offenses of the game, but that defense is non-existent right now as they lost 45-48. We'll dive in some of these games, but man, I think the biggest one too is, you wrote off Jimmy G, but said he wasn't going to beat the Super Bowl team, but he goes down there and 24-9. Ace, let's dive into it. Vikings boots in the ground, Saints boots in the ground. We talked about everything we could have talked about last week in the podcast. We had Aaron Summers on. From my perspective, very good game. I think with the Saints not having the number 1 quarterback They're not their number one running back and their number one receiver, and still playing at a very high level against Kirk Cousins, who looked very good until that interception. I feel like the momentum completely shifted. This game came down the wire. Will Lutz hit a 60-yard field goal, his career record to tie the game. Vikings travel down the field. Questionable penalties that helped them in that drive. I'm not going to get into it. You guys got the win. Congratulations. I'm not a sore loser. Saints get a chance to get the ball back. Andy Dolan, huge play to Chris Olave, field goal range, 61. 1 yard away from where Will Lutz just made the field goal. He kicks that field goal. It's good. The distance is there. Just a little bit too far to left. You give that ball 1 inch to the right. That's how close that ball was of going in. I threw my hat so far.
That was a
room.
bomb.
I took my hat off and threw it so hard. I told everyone I knew, Ace, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. My chest hurt so bad after that game. The mix of emotions. Just some things I'm going to break down real quick, and then I want to hear your view of the game. Andy Dalton, in my opinion, looked good for the Saints. First half was a little slow. Second half, great. I think he was 20 for 26, 236 yards, something like that. Touchdown, no interceptions. He had a costly fumble. I think that really hurt right before the half. But if you look at the New Orleans Saints, the first 3 games of the year, I mean, we only scored 1 touchdown the first 3 quarters of the game. You know, I think Andy Dalton, I'm not saying Andy Dalton is the replacement to Jameis Winston, because I know Winston is hurt and he's doubtful for Sunday again. It looks like Andy Dalton's going to get his second start. We need Winston to be healthy, because I think Winston is still a playmaker. But what I'm saying is, as a fan, Andy Dalton's looking pretty decent. The ball was moving. He's hitting different receivers. We had Latavius Murray in the run game, had a pretty good run game, gone to the Broncos the next day. He's gone. Keep it moving. But in my opinion, we can't panic yet. It's still 1-3. There's a lot of season left. We're only 1 game out of first place. I think that we're playing Seattle this week at home. Everyone is there but Michael Thomas and Jameis Winston. Alvin Kamara's come back. I think that this is a start that we need to get this win to get this back rolling. But
you guys weren't healthy. You guys were not healthy in this game, in that game, and you still made a game out of it.
Still some key defenders that were injured too, but
you could say the chain, like the 4th down, we went for it. The punter, our team, the punter threw it on 4th down or whatever.
That was a good play.
Fake punt. That was the game almost, pretty much.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook, I would say,
again. I would say the 2 key main factors of that game is that fumble we had 13 seconds before the half ended. You guys kicked the field goal. If that never happened, you didn't have those 3 points.
Yep.
And penalties, man. We had 100 yards worth of penalties against our team. If we can clean that up, like, we played a good game.
Dude, Seattle's sneaky good, man. That's gonna be a good game.
I know they are. Geno Smith went off against the Lions.
And
but
also the Vikings D-line has not been getting as much. Like, week 1, fine. You get that against the Packers. Packers were banged up. Sort of expected that. They have not really shown much the last
only 2 sacks against Dalton. Only 2 sacks against Dalton. Cousins had 3 sacks. It was a good, for a London game. That was a good game. And I'll be honest, Dad, the first thing I kept thinking about is, man, 9:30 games are kind of nice. My whole day's open now. My whole day is open. Like, I was a little bit like, oh man, I gotta wake up early. But I got done. I was like, wow, it's not 4 o'clock.
I just got an update. Michigan's getting ready to kick off. It's only 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? But the thing that's tied, the thing that you're not talking about too is, like, Jarvis Landry, Alvin Kamara, Andros Pete, and Marcus May. They're all listed as questionable. Andros Pete's listed as out.
They said that Kamara is expected to play. He's ready to go. He says rib feels great. Jarvis Landry was questionable last week too, but played. I'll give you some insight. I was texting Aaron Summers right before this podcast. There is like any details as far as the Michael Thomas injury. I thought it was a foot injury. He played the first 2.5 games and had looked dominant. What she told me is, as far as what they know, it's a toe injury. So I don't know what to extent that injury is, but he has not been practicing. I don't know if they're just trying to get him back as quick as they can, so they don't even want him doing little workouts. But it would be nice to have him back. They listed Chris Olave as the 2nd best rookie this year so far, not even counting wide receivers, right behind Saucy Gardner-Johnson or whatever heck his name is. Saucy from the Jets.
God, what is
don't know his name, but last week was a big game because Michael Thomas wasn't in, so you got to see, can Chris Olave still get open? That guy's fast, man. Gosh, is he fast?
I'm looking at this notable injury designations for Sunday. There's not one Minnesota team member listed on this list. So either Minnesota, there's no one notable on that team. Or you guys have no injuries. But I'm looking, and I don't pay too much attention during we get the Cowboys. But CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, and Jason Peters are all listed as questionable.
Wow.
Jason Peters, who only played 14 snaps, got a chest injury in practice. He's doubtful.
Wow.
You know, we just paid all that money to get this guy.
Before we get into the Commanders and Dallas game, Ace, take us to your point of view as far as a Vikings fan, what you felt during the game, and what are some things you feel like you need to work on, even though you did get a W.
Well, and speaking of injuries, quick, Lewis Seen, the rookie safety, had a freak like
Yeah,
injury
what
in
happened
that
with him?
game.
Because he had a breathing
Um,
mask on and everything.
I think it was a broken
Leg,
know if it
wasn't
was
it? Wasn't it a
right.
broken leg?
Yeah, right or left leg. He's still in London apparently. Like he is
Wow.
not flowing back.
Yeah.
I think he's coming back next week sometime, but
Must've
yeah,
been
he's
a bad
definitely
break.
out for the year. It says suffered a compound fracture not late in the game. He hasn't returned home, undergoing a preparatory procedure, had a surgery. Yeah, he's definitely season ending. That sucks. But outside of, I was hoping he was going to contribute, especially alongside Harrison Smith. So losing him sucks. But again, we need to get more pressure on these quarterbacks. And honestly, I think this week against the Bears should be a get right game. Like
Who's home?
I've watched Justin Fields. If he's not the 32nd best quarterback, he's right around there with Daniel Jones. Not good at all. So we know that what they're going to do. They're going to try to run the ball against us, whatever, maybe play action, boot stuff, crap like that. This should be a get right game for the Vikes, I'm hoping. So
Nice.
Well, what impressed you guys the most about last week? I mean, Jacksonville was up 14-0 on the Eagles. Buffalo down 17 against Baltimore, comes back and wins. The Rams getting blown out. I mean,
well, number one, I think the Chiefs kind of made their stamp to say, hey, we're still the team we are, even though Tyreek Hill has left. Our defense isn't that great, but 41-31 points against Tom Brady, who, number one, Tom Brady, I don't think he's the same Tom Brady this year. He's dealing with a neck injury, a finger injury, and his wife issues right now. That's a great distraction for my division right now to get back in that lead. But
yeah, but does he have his weapons back though? I mean, he scored what 20 plus points.
They haven't had like really anybody. Mike Evans was back, I think, but that's about it. Cole Beasley came for 2 games retired.
So
Godwin's healthy though too. Yeah, what happened with Beasley?
Beasley was probably like, I don't feel like getting yelled at by Brady. I'm out of here.
Dude, I mean, they put up 31 points against Kansas City with no receivers. I mean, that's not too bad.
I think the biggest thing for me was what Brady actually alluded to. There's some terrible freaking games, some terrible teams. And I think it has a lot to do with preseason. Because what's interesting is the defenses are coming out. I think it's lack of preseason play, all of that stuff, where you're seeing the defenses strike quickly. There a lot of the better teams, especially defensively, are making these offenses look very, very bad.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of poor play.
I said that to my buddy yesterday. I said, hey, you look at like a lot of these teams this year. I mean, the records are all up and down. You know what I mean? It's not like there's my biggest take, like you said, what's a shocking or like whatever you asked, the Eagles and Jaguars, right? You have the Eagles who are losing 14-0 in a game where it's cold and it is downpouring. So, right, the environment, crappy environment to play a game for a 4-0 team, 3-0 team and a 2-1 team. Jacksonville's up early, pick 6 from Jalen Hurts, but the Eagles to find a way to win and end it with a 29-21 win. I mean, that to me, that still shows me that, hey, the Eagles are still that team. They're the only team undefeated. And they're still a team to look out for.
And that's like the worst thing. There's not a worse organization to be undefeated. You know what I mean? And look, I picked the Eagles. I really picked the Eagles. I think they're going to be a solid team all year long.
Yeah.
They get Dallas 2 weeks from now. Yeah, I think it's a Monday night game.
Who's home first?
Hopefully Dak Prescott's back.
Is it in Dallas first?
I gotta look at the schedule.
I'd rather end at Dallas.
I'll bring it up quick.
But my thing is like you talked about defense, Ace. You know, the Rams were one of the best defenses in football last year. They actually have a negative 24 score differential. They've only scored 70 points, but they've allowed 94.
They can't even put up any offense.
Yeah.
Did you see how many times they threw the ball to Cooper Kupp? But first of all, if you watch that game, he threw the ball to Cooper Kupp probably 90% of the time, and they didn't score. I didn't see like he didn't throw one touchdown. They have a rushing touchdown. Actually, I have no idea. It was all field goals.
That's the key. That's the key for Dallas this week, who's going against the Rams. You know, get pressure on Stafford, make him uncomfortable because he's a guy that holds on to the ball a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Allen Robinson had 7 yards receiving. Like they bring this guy in to help Cooper, but he just looks Cooper Kupp's way.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And Higbee had 73 yards rushing and 14 targets. But if you look at the targets, 19 targets to Cooper Kupp, 14 to Higbee. Everyone below that, there's like 6 guys below that, 3 to 1 targets.
I think this is a get right game for the Rams. I don't know how.
Who's home, Dallas or the Rams?
Chris, it's at home for the Rams.
It's at the Rams, and Dallas goes to Philly the following week.
Oh, God.
It's gonna be. I think this will be a low scoring game, but
When does Dak come back?
It's hard for me to say that Cooper Rush can win 4 straight games,
Hey.
especially going on the road. It's doable.
Look,
What if Cooper Rush beats the Rams and they're like, you know what, Dak isn't fully healthy yet. He goes into Philly and beats the Eagles. Is there a serious controversy there, or just Dak still the guy?
Look, honestly, and I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. I love my Cowboys. I don't think Cooper Rush could beat the Eagles. I really don't. I
think your defense could.
The offense,
look,
they have to
the
open
thing
the
is,
playbook, Chris. Like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is the Eagles' defense is just as good as the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? The only thing different is the Eagles allowed more touchdowns than Dallas. That that eventually is you're gonna lose that. You're not gonna have a defense that's not gonna allow touchdowns all season. But the thing is I still think Philadelphia is a better team. I don't know about offensively. I think if we get Dak back and we get our running game going, I think we could be a solid team. I mean, no one's talking about Zeke and no one's talking about Pollard.
Your running game isn't playing well, man.
No, it is playing well. We're not putting up 100+ yards rushing, but we're controlling the clock.
Yeah, Pollard only had 6 yards rushing, and that's the thing. You got to get Pollard more involved. He's so good.
But the thing is I can't elaborate on this enough. They got to open the playbook. Their offense is so stale. Screens and they're not utilizing the tight ends across the middle of the field like they did last week. Like last year, CeeDee Lamb had a great game last week. Michael Gallup's back.
Noah Brown.
Thing is Noah Brown's a stud. But you know what's going to happen? He's going to be another Cedric Wilson. He's going to walk next year and get more money.
You know what he's going to be? He's got connection with Cooper Rush. Dak's going to come in. You're not going to even see it from Noah Brown anymore.
Yeah. But the thing is Dallas Cowboys are known to freaking build people's careers, make them look good, and then we never resign. That's what we're known for, And we bring back rehab cases.
It's like the Pirates.
Make them look good.
It's like the Pirates.
Yeah. But the thing is that in order for this team to go and shine, we got to stop being conservative. We got to open up the playbook. Last year we used to throw the ball down the field a lot. And up tempo, stop letting the clock run down to 2. Everyone knows when you're going to snap it. Then open the freaking playbook. Let's get fancy with it and let's start doing something with this team because you're going to start facing.
He threw for more passing yards this week with 2 touchdowns, so it was nice. I mean, maybe every week they're slowly open. I mean, Kellen Moore probably has a little bit of a complicated playbook with the way he picks plays, but it looks like they're slowly open.
Cooper Rush has been there long enough. He should know it.
That is true. That is true, though.
And these next 2 weeks are going to be they're good defenses. I know the Rams haven't been playing the best, but I also think it's partly because of the offense keeping them on the field a lot longer than they should be. That's why I think there's a get right game for the Rams, but you never know. But
you know what? The bad thing about the Cowboys is when your field goal kicker is the leading scorer on your team, you're in trouble. If you can't punch in those balls inside the red zone and get touchdowns, which we're not doing right now, it's going to come back to bite you. And you're right, Ace. You can't be in a shootout with a team with the Rams. You can't be in a shootout with a team like the Eagles. When you have the opportunity with your defense playing well to put the teams away, and you have to put teams away. And the Cowboys have not been able to do that.
Yeah. I don't think the Commanders have a lot of upside right now. I don't know what's going on with that team. There's a lot of potential with that team. Robinson's making his debut this week, though. Did you see that? They made this cool little tribute video. Yeah, happy for that guy. Excited for him getting shot and being able to come back. I dropped him in fantasy as soon as he got shot. I don't know if that's wrong or not.
That's gonna come back to bite you.
If he's available, pick him up. That might come back to bite you, honestly.
It's not. He's not, unfortunately.
Well, trade for him. Honestly, he's going to be a star.
That's going to be a big story. Could you imagine that's the turnaround in their season? He just goes off after being shot. Let's look at some of the upcoming games this week. Obviously, the Broncos just played the Colts in a very disappointing game where not one team scored a touchdown. Literally, it was all field goals. Russell Wilson, I was telling my dad, looks like it looks weird when he throws the ball. I don't know if that's normal, if I haven't never seen it. And then I said, Matt Ryan, man, does he look doofy, unathletic? He looks so uncomfortable. When you watch him move his legs, I'm like, bro, you look like an old man in that pocket. The Colts, and someone said this great. He said, the Colts need to draft a quarterback. No wonder Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and Matt Ryan were available for a reason. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there's nothing from both those teams that I looked at. I was like, I'm scared of that team. I mean, there were certain times both those defenses played well, but I don't know if you guys even want to talk about that game. We could pass over that game. 4th and 1, Russell Wilson decided they throw for it. They could have ran for it, done something. It was like the Super Bowl all over again. The Super Bowl all over again.
I am changing sports. I after watching these first 5 games of the Broncos, play calling, stupid decision making, all like it's happened every single game, you could say, where they've made some sort of like, what are you doing? Like the field goal kick at the end, like week 2 or 3, when
Yeah.
they trot him out instead of going for it's just like all of these plays are stupid. And the biggest problem for me is when when it's 4th and 1 and you're not in goal line yet, you're on what, the 4-yard line or something, so you
They're
can still
like
get
on
the
like,
first down.
yeah, they were like on the 5 or something like that.
Or no, not only that, I'm the end of the game. The end of the game before it got into overtime, they had the ball on when Russell throws the interception. It's like 3rd and 4, and he throws the interception. They're down at like the 8-yard line. Why? I don't understand some of that play calling.
What's the
I would be
chances?
so upset
What are the chances that this is going to be like one of those things where, like, when Aaron Rodgers had his new coach, or the Bengals, where they were trashed and everyone was like, well, this isn't going to go well. But the next year it flipped into this like magical blossom where like they had the chemistry and they were on the same plays now. All right, these plays didn't work. Now we have something going.
I just honestly believe that they were going to get a 9-time Pro Bowler that was dominant in the early part of his career with Seattle.
Looks nothing like Russell
You know,
Wilson.
Yep.
But let me tell you, his last 2 years, he's been declining in Seattle. My thing is when he came here, the first thing they were talking is playoff Super Bowl. You know what? They just lost another offensive lineman with a broken leg. There's no chemistry on that team at all. It's like watching Pee Wee football. You know, my thing is too is on like some of these plays, like 4th and 1, why are you in shotgun? 4th and 1, nobody lines up over the center. Do the Tom Brady, you jump and just reach the ball out. Nobody lines up over the center. It's an easy concept. I'm not even a coach, and I see this. 4th and inches. Why are you now in a shotgun making it a 4th and 3?
Yep. You're taking the thinking. Yeah, the defense automatically has one less thing to worry about. It's just everything has been a total dysfunction. And what's interesting is when they went back to Seattle, the fact that none of the fans, there must have been some animosity with him the last handful of years there, because the fact that none of the fans cheered for him after bringing him, that he brought them a Super Bowl, is eerie. Well, they just cheered a head coach last week that went home. I don't even remember. No, the Eagles. Jaguars play the Eagles. The head coach, what the frick is the head coach? Doug Peterson comes back. They give him a standing ovation. Philadelphia. Russell Wilson got
nothing
booed.
in Seattle.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you what.
There's a lot of players that played with him that are coming out and saying, I mean, we kind of expect this. That's the kind of guy he was.
That's just that whole aura. I hate to dig on Russell, but that whole aura that he brings, I think people just are sick of that now, honestly. And you're not playing well either, so it doesn't help.
But that is why, if I was a GM, I am not spending big money on a quarterback. I'm sorry. I'm just not, because you're paying the name. You're not paying the product. You're paying for what you saw in the early part of his career where he was younger, he was more agile. I'm sorry, when you get those 35-year-old legs and you're constantly getting beat up like he is, and this isn't all on Russell Wilson. That offensive line is trash. Seattle's offensive line became trash. He's doing what he can to survive, but it's just, it's bad. You have a new coach, you have new play calling. There's no way you're going to, I think that Sirianni guy is the only one that's taken a freaking team to the playoffs as a new coach in the last, 10 years?
Yeah.
So it's a hard thing. And to expect one person to come in and turn this team around, it's not going to happen. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And you can see the urgency kind of in the Eagles to almost win now, because and maybe same with the Bengals too, but like when it comes time to have to pay Hurts, Burrows, Herbert, they have to pay them, right? Like you're going to have to pay these guys.
And not to mention, they got a boatload of free agents next. I mean, not free agents. They got a boatload of first-round draft picks again next year. They could be like the Rams if they want to. They could start trading away their picks.
As of right now, too, the way the Saints are playing, I think they have a top 5 or top 10 pick right now because they get our pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting game. We'll go over some of the games, not all of the games, but London game, Giants and Packers, both 3-1. This is the first time I think they were saying in a good amount of years where both teams are above 500 in London. Packers, Giants. I heard the London Stadium is selling cheese heads for Packers fans. Obviously, I just want to hear your guys' picks, but I think obviously the answer here is take the Packers, but I would love to see the Giants somehow pull a win out here and go 4-1. I think that'd be crazy.
Same, but I got to go Packers. Giants, is Daniel Jones even gonna? I think he's gonna play.
I think
but
he's
they are
in.
So
I think he's
banged
in.
up.
Yeah. Dad, who you taking?
Oh, I mean, they're close statistically. I mean, there's not much of a difference between them, especially offense and defense. I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say Giants. I think Saquon is back, and I think the Giants
Wow.
are a team to reckon with, and I think the Giants are gonna upset Aaron Rodgers over there in front of the Jaguars crowd.
I mean,
They
hey,
are
the Packers did struggle against a backup quarterback last week.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
they know they're gonna have to run the ball.
Yeah. Bears are coming into Vikings like we talked about. 2-2 are the Bears, 3-1 are the Vikings. My hot take for this is the Bears find a way to pull off a win against the Vikings.
Oh
Wow.
no! Well, David Montgomery might come back, which honestly, you get him and the backup running back in there, you never know.
I just
They
think
play
if the Bears lose this game, I think their season's kind of like in the toilet bowl at this point. Like they started
Oh
off
my
1-0, and like I think that this is the game if they're going to fight for it. This has got to be the game. It's a division game.
I can't pick them. After watching them 2 weeks ago against the
It's a hot take, Ace. I know the
Texans.
Vikings are going to win, but I'm saying like I like to use one hot upset a week. This is the one I'm picking.
Hot takes
Yeah.
become the wall of shame if you really think about it. You know, they really
Hey, I
do.
picked Jimmy G last week, and you laughed and said I'll get a Jimmy G jersey if they win. Look at that.
Chris, did we have to bring back?
I don't remember that. I mean, maybe Jimmy G toilet paper or something, but I no.
I'm gonna check the tape because I think we did joke about like buying.
I said a Jimmy G
something.
T-shirt. I think I said.
I don't
Okay.
remember that. It might have been last year or something.
I'll send it your way.
I don't remember that.
All right, who you guys taking? Obviously, I think Ace is going to be taking the Vikings here.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I think the Vikings are going to win, and I think the Vikings are going to open up a lead on Green Bay. I just the thing I want to see about the Vikings is I want to see them open up the offense more and get more guys involved, like they did when the head coach was with the Rams as the offensive coordinator.
They got some of the guys involved last week,
but I'm just saying they get
Yeah.
a lot more motions, a lot more movements because motions confuse teams defensively. So get motions going like they did with the Rams. I honestly think it's too early in the season to say, the offense is flat. I just think they're building on this. And I honestly think that they're still going to be the team to beat in the North.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers are playing the Bills. Kenny Pickett's getting his first start of the week with Mitchell Trubisky playing not so great, which I don't even think
be ugly.
I don't even think all the blame could have been on Mitchell Trubisky. Now the Steelers do have a good defense. The Bills are 3-1, hot team.
Steelers
but they
don't
are
have a good defense.
The Bills are struggling with some injuries right now, though. What are the chances Kenny Pickett comes out here and balls, though?
Come on, let's just all at the one same time say it. Bills. Come on. The Bills are going to destroy them. It's not even going to be close. I just, you know what? They're still one of the best defenses in the team. They've only allowed 58 points all season. Kenny Pickett is going to regret getting to start against this team. Let's guess over under interceptions for Kenny Pickett for I say 4 or more.
Well, what's the chances that he starts playing so bad that they put Trubisky back in the game?
I wouldn't.
Just so he doesn't get injured. Just so he doesn't get injured.
So oh my God, is Najee? Yeah, Harris is playing. Oh my God, I'm gonna say under 4 interceptions if we're gonna do that, but it's gonna be a. This is honestly, why not?
I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. I'm gonna take Pittsburgh.
Look, and it's nothing against Kenny Pickett.
Just kidding.
It's nothing against Kenny Pickett. I just don't. I don't think this offense is gelling yet.
Yep.
It's not the Ben
it looks good with
Roethlisberger
him in
all
there
those
though.
Weapons. Yeah, that's fine. But I just
Pro Football Focus. He did go 10 for 13, 3 interceptions. Pro Football Focus. It's a weird stat. But they said he technically was 10 for 10 because those 3 interceptions should have been caught, but they weren't.
Okay, so he threw 3 interceptions last week against a horrible team. He went 10 for. That's great. But now he's going against the best defense. He's going to be on his back at least 7 times.
Probably. And
he's going to throw at least 4 interceptions.
Probably. It is what it is. Dallas is playing the Rams, like we all said. They're going into LA. I'm taking Dallas. Dallas is 3-1. They got a good defense. I think the Rams are struggling to find their identity right now. Matthew Stafford couldn't even put up a touchdown last week against the 49ers, who do have a good defense. So we can see how they play against good defenses. And I think the Rams defense is getting exposed a little bit. I don't know if they're dealing with injuries or if something's going on, but I think if Dallas can get a good rushing game in there and Cooper Rush can just, throw a couple slants here and there and move the chains, I think Dallas can take this game.
I think Aaron Donald. Sorry, I'm just going to say Aaron Donald, Rams.
Oh, wow. Screw your Minnesota Vikings, Ace.
Well,
How about that?
I want to pick the Cowboys, but this is a
Well, then
yeah.
go with your gut. If you want it, then you do it. No, honestly, I'm a little concerned about this game because CeeDee Lamb hasn't practiced this week. He's got a hamstring issue. Tony Pollard has an illness, and Jason Peters, who we signed, who was supposed to be playing left guard for us, he got hit in the chest, and now he's out. So he just made free money. I think that defensively, the Cowboys are solid enough to win this game. My concern is offensively, we got to get going. But I'm going to say Dallas wins in a nail biter, 24-21.
Oh, wow. Seattle coming off one of the best starts of the season this year, with Geno Smith dominating his 2 wins that he's had so far. No one's expected Seattle to look like this. Obviously defense is struggling. Coming into the Dome, where the Saints have had a pretty decent defense so far. Seattle's defense have been allowing a lot of yards. I think this is a good game for the Saints to bounce back and be like, all right, we have the offensive weapons. We're playing a defense that is struggling. The Saints are the favorites right now at home, and I am taking the Saints. This is the game for me where if the Saints can't beat the Seattle Seahawks, then not saying we can't make the playoffs, but I just don't feel like that's a lie. Like last week I said I hate the Saints, but every week I'm gonna die and bleed the black and gold because I get so excited. But I think I don't think this is gonna be a blowout. Like I think that this is gonna be a good game.
Same.
But I'm taking the Saints every week.
Man,
You know what's funny? The NFC West is the only division where everyone's in first place. Everyone's 2-2 in that division. Seattle's technically in first place.
We thought that'd be the best division in football.
And
no, we thought the AFC West would be.
God, that's funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Saints too. Their season is on. They're 1-3. They need this win.
We need this win bad.
Yeah. So no matter who the heck is out there,
I'll give you this, Ace, too. The coaches that come out and said that the Saints have been practicing very hard without the coaches even pushing for it like that. They're saying the mentality is it is what it is. We lost last week, but we're focusing on the next game. Like we're not just gonna give up. Like so.
Who was the? I feel like they regret. What the heck's letting Armstead go?
I mean, the offensive line isn't playing terrible. Andy Dalton's has time. And honestly, Ace, I'm not upset with that because Armstead has done the same thing for the Saints he did with Miami. Played 2 games, he's injured again.
Oh, okay.
He can never stay healthy. I mean, when he was healthy, he was one of the best left tackles, I believe it is, in the game. But he was injured, I believe, almost every single year with some kind of injury. Dad, who are you taking?
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say the Saints. I really do. I think the Saints have to get their offense going though. I mean, they're like in the bottom half of the league as far as the point total. I think
passing yards though, we were in top 10. That's a good sign. It's a good sign.
But passing yards is fine, but it usually means you're trailing in a lot of games.
Yeah, we need to score. We need to score.
My thing is like I'm starting to worry about Michael Thomas. Is he becoming like the McCaffrey?
I know.
The Trout of the NFL, where you
so
get money
good when he plays,
you get paid, and you're hurt. Is it time? I mean, if he can't play the season, is it time to move on from him? It's just you have one of the best receivers on the team in the NFL when he's healthy. But the sad thing is he's not playing. Same thing with Dak Prescott. This is 2 years in a row now where he's getting injured. He's got the Tony Romo disease. You start looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, and I'm still sticking with my guts. This is the Saints division to win. The problem is they're not taking advantage of a Buccaneers team that's beat up. You got to take advantage of these because if Buccaneers get healthy, I mean, Brady's still putting up good points with a beat up offense.
Yeah. Also, I think the biggest concern too is if we can control penalties, I think we win games, and it's our rushing game. You've seen nothing really in our rushing game yet.
Yeah,
but we'll do one more pick here.
But isn't it amazing how you guys get new coaches and like everything that was successful? It's almost like the presidency. Republican goes out, Democrat comes in, changes everything, and it's just we all said the Saints were going to be one of the best teams in the NFC, and
I think it goes back to what Ace says too, is like not being able to call plays in preseason and mold these guys. Like I think they're trying to figure out where to put Taysom Hill too. Like if you watch that Vikings game, when they had Taysom Hill out on the offense, it allows people to get open, and then they just wouldn't put him back out. Like it's like keep him in the game. Oh my gosh.
I don't know what another thing. 10 to 15 plays a game he should, or at least 10,
at least because it allows the defense to be like, oh snap, there's Taysom, we need to cover him. But then this wide receiver can be wide open.
Yep.
But you know what sucks too? If you notice in preseason this year, well, not even in preseason, in OTAs, you see a lot of team-on-team scrimmages now. Like we've scrimmaged the Rams a lot. you're not going to show your offense in those scrimmages. You're going to be very vanilla.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree.
I think they should do away with the whole freaking preseason. Just let these guys have, like, it would be the blue and gray scrimmage for the Cowboys and just work on your plays. You know what I mean? Stop interacting with other teams because you're not going to showcase your talent.
You know what I think's going to happen?
All you're doing is just leaving it open for guys to get in fights.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald's throwing
helmets.
Yeah. What's going to happen with the Cowboys is Dak's going to get released next year. Tom Brady's going to get divorced.
No.
And he's going to be like, I'm not retiring. I'm going to Dallas because Sean Payton's going over to Dallas and he's going to coach and we're going to go win a Super Bowl. And it's just going to be the best thing ever. And we're all going to hate it because Dallas is going to be good again.
Why would you say that, Ty? We're almost done and you got to be.
All right, last game I want to ask for your picks.
I want a 48-year-old Tom Brady. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Hey, he's got better on the deck right now. Last game I want to ask you guys about is the Eagles are traveling to Arizona, where Arizona is 2-2 and desperate for a win. Even though they did just beat the Carolina. 4-0 Eagles. Obviously, is this a game where Kyler Murray steps up and plays really good against a dominant team? Like you have those teams that they suck against, not great teams, but then they go out and play decent teams, and they're like, now I need to shine. Show the league that I do study film and not just play the new Call of Duties that come out. If I was going to pick an upset, I know I did against the Vikings, but I would lean towards Cardinals being home, needing a big win. But I do believe the Eagles are going to win that game, but it wouldn't shock me here if this is the week that the Eagles play a little sloppy and they lose.
Oh my. A part of me wants to take the Cardinals, but I just can't trust
I don't trust Kyler Murray.
Yeah, especially with DeAndre. I don't know. I think Hopkins will come back in a couple weeks or something. I got to go with
week 6. I think week 7.
Like until the Eagles show me that, sure, they got off to a slow start against the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are better than the Cardinals. Anyways,
I do too.
So I got to go Eagles until they show us otherwise.
Yeah.
My whole thing is like the Cardinals had like a great tandem. They had D-Hop and they had freaking Christian Kirk, and then you let Kirk walk.
They got Marquise. Yeah. They got
but now you have
Hollywood Brown.
You have nothing to offset that. So now they're going to double team Hopkins, and your best per other receivers, your tight end that they got from the Eagles. So I don't look. The Eagles are going to dominate this game. I just think they're going to put so much pressure on Murray. Murray's going to be running for his life, and he's not going to get the 14 seconds that he did scrambling that one day against that one team. It's Eagles all day.
You know what? It's fired me up here. I'm gonna take a hot take here. Kyler Murray's gonna win this game with 1 rushing touchdown. Ertz is gonna have 1 touchdown catch with 50 yards receiving because he's gonna have a revenge game, and this is gonna be an upset this week. This is my lock pick for an upset. Here it is now. Cardinals are beating the Eagles.
The only thing too is teams traveling east to west, west to east. It's usually tough.
Come on.
I think the only one that has, I don't know if I said this last week, Pete Carroll, he's won 13 of 14 games on the East Coast, which is an amazing stat. But it's tough. So we only can hope that the Eagles get jet
JJ Watt. JJ Watt just got his heart rebeated. He's coming out. Like it's happening this week.
He's got a new life. He's got a new lease.
He's got a new life. He essentially told us he died. They brought him back to life.
Look, the Eagles are going to be 5-0. The Cowboys are going to be 4-1. And it's going to be a blockbuster game in Philadelphia. So we'll see what happens. Now the Eagles, Ian, my future son-in-law, has been sending me all this stats about the Eagles defense, and I sent him one back and said the Eagles haven't beaten the Cowboys since 2019. End of story.
That's our week 5 picks. Don't necessarily go and parlay and bet just because we have a podcast and think we're the best out here, even though we do think we are the best. That's our week 5 picks. Do you guys want to talk about any college things before we end this podcast, besides hoping Michigan gets a win this week going into Penn State?
Wait, do they play this week? We could talk little.
No, we
play Indiana this week.
Indiana, and then we go into Penn State. Well, we go home.
The only thing good about Michigan this year is the run game is amazing. It's probably one of the best in the country. We've only had 2 turnovers this whole season. The only thing is our offense is flat. You can't depend on the run game the whole season. You got to get the quarterbacks throwing the ball down the field and get our receivers involved with the game. Our tight ends are amazing.
Who did we play last week? With not Illinois. It was was it? No, it was Indiana. It was Iowa. I felt terrible for that quarterback. I turned on the game at the end of it and I watched 5 sacks in a row. Like if I was the quarterback, I would look at the coach and be like, "What do you want me to do?" Like he literally, Ace would say hike and the defense lineman was already tackling him.
Oh my God.
Like I would cry and be like, Coach, I don't know what you want me to do. I'm saying hike, and this 350-pound lineman is letting this guy eat me alive over here.
This is the year that that Minnesota, the Gophers, should win the Big Ten West. Right now Nebraska's in the lead because they just beat Rutgers last night. They have the conference lead of 2-1 in the Big Ten West. So God help us if they end up somehow winning. But yeah, Iowa's look like crap. Michigan's up early on Indiana right now, 7-0. So
crap.
Both teams are going to be undefeated. Gophers have a bye this week. Then we play Illinois and then Penn State. Those are going to be tough games.
After we beat Ohio State, we'll get Minnesota in the Big Ten championship.
Yes, I would love to see that because we could put a little T-shirt bet or maybe I don't know, toss something over our heads if they, whatever.
I gotta tell you, the whole thing about college
think of
football that sucks is once again the college bigwigs who are always Alabama put them back as number one. Why do they love Alabama so much? I think right now, as much as I hate to say it, Ohio State deserves to be the number one team in the country. You know what? They just are playing solid. You know, Georgia, Alabama, they keep tossing these two around up there. Michigan's still 4. Michigan, you know, really hasn't had that impressive,
who's
real
3,
dominant
who's
lead.
3 and 2? Georgia's 2 and Ohio State's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clemson's another sneaky one who's 5-0. USC's up there 5-0. Oklahoma State's 4-0. Tennessee, who you haven't heard about since the 80s, being in the top 10, is up there at 4-0. Mississippi, Penn State is number 10 right now.
Dude, they're climbing quick. They're climbing quick, man.
My thing is stop freaking babying these Alabama teams who don't play no one until late in the season. What do they play? Like one ranked team a year? Come on.
You would think that the top 10 ranked teams, the next season, they should get at least 3 ranked teams to play. At least. Like,
but the problem is
you to give Alabama a schedule where they play one ranked team. Not saying they do because I don't know their schedule, but like,
you got to understand something, Ty. These schedules are already preset. These guys sign contracts. Michigan signed contracts to play Notre Dame like 3 years in a row. So these contracts, these schedules are already set. You know, they're always going to play their division teams, whatever order it is. But they like Ohio State and Michigan is always the last game of the year. It's always been like that, and it's going to always stay like that.
I love that though,
because it comes down to this: TV revenue, TV money, and everything. So it sucks.
I brought this up with you guys, but I was talking to some friends this week. I can't wait until it comes a time where they almost what's the word I'm thinking? You have like the conferences, right? But they're almost tiered. And so you can bring in relegation. So you have tier 1, let's just say, which is, you know, pretty much 10. You have tier 1, which is 12 teams, tier 2. You go down, whatever, pick however many tiers you want. You basically put teams in those tiers so that top 3 each year can move up, top 3 move down.
I like
That's
that.
where you're not
best teams are playing the best teams, and the low teams are competing to get back into that tier.
Yeah, but then to that point, you're going to lose these rivalry matchups with like Michigan, Notre Dame, with Penn State, Michigan, with, I mean, maybe not so much there. I feel like the Big Ten, the SEC can kind of, and some of the Pac-10 schools can kind of have like tier 1, tier 2, but I just can't wait until you can get relegation.
Yeah.
And why do you think Notre Dame never signed with a conference? Because Notre Dame has the ability to play whoever they want, and they play probably more ranked teams in a season than anybody else because, you know, they have all those schedules and contracts signed with those teams. I gotta tell you what, man, it's a great time to be alive, though. You got basketball starting, hockey starting, college football, NFL, and baseball playoffs, man. It's a great time to be alive.
Amen.
Well, hey, this is the Everything Goes podcast. Let's ride. 4th and 1. 4th and 1.
Let's ride into the top 5 draft pick.
Everyone should have been refunded for watching that game. It was
JJ McCarthy's running right now. Hey,
free prime for a week or a month because of that.
Yeah. Hey, we hope y'all enjoy whatever kind of day it is for you on Saturday. Like I might go to the beach today, but my dad, he's got pants and a hoodie on. Ace, it might snow for Ace. It might be sunny. I don't know.
It's 35 degrees here, but it's going up to 66 today.
You know, I was watching the highlights of the Eagles. They had the NFL mic'd up, and I saw the wind blowing, and it was cold, and I was like, I don't miss it.
I think it's a balmy 50 right now. I love it.
Cottage Grove for anybody that wants to stock these. Well, we hope you guys enjoy your weekend and continue to spread the love to this podcast. And Yeah, let's ride. Hope you all enjoy your day. Peace.
Peace.